All right, guys. So today I have Omar. He's a natural born leader, so it was only right I get him on the Natural Born Leader podcast. And yeah, he lives in Montreal, so it was really easy to get this done. But yeah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, 100%. So my name is Omar. I'm 29 years old. I'm the founder of O Growth Labs. So we basically serve as a digital growth incubator for direct-to-consumer brands around the world. So we've been doing this for a few years now, successfully. So that's, I guess, why we're here. We're serving clients all around the world from different industries. We've been disrupting industries left, right, and center. We've changed a lot since we started. Maybe we'll get into that. I think that'll be some great perspective and obviously some good advice from you, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, man. Thank you for jumping on and for making time.
100%.
We'll go back to what you're doing shortly, but we're talking about the importance of just having visual proof, or when it comes to like branding, right? So we're in a space where it's all online, right? So meaning people don't really get to meet us and really figure out if we're real people, if what we do is real, if all the numbers we talk about are real, right? Because I remember when I was just starting out, you look at these figures online and you're like, you kind of like remove yourself. There's comes a point where you start earning a certain amount of money where for the everyday person, where it kind of like it's too removed from
the reality.
From what their reality is, right? And I'll go on a tangent right now. Maybe we can just talk about what you've been able to build, what I've been able to build, and talk about where we come from, right? So I'm an immigrant. I was born in Rwanda, and came to Canada, Montreal, when I was 13, right? You're also an immigrant from Morocco.
From Morocco, yeah. Exactly.
When did you come to Montreal?
So we came when I was 12. So pretty early too. Yeah, so I was born and raised in Morocco, Casablanca. And then I came here with my parents and my sister. Went to Stanislas. I don't know if anyone knows it. It's a French school here in Montreal. And then continued my studies here at Concordia. Went for a bachelor in civil engineering. Graduated, worked for 2 years in the industry. And then just realized that, that wasn't it for me.
Yeah.
That's why I did the shift, and then the rest is history.
How is being an engineer and being in business?
That's a really cool, I'd say, duality to have, right? Because you tend to look at things not as everyone looks at them, right? Or the perspective you have when you first look at things is very unique. You look at things for what they are, not what you want them to be, right?
100%.
Yeah, so that was a big addition to, I'd say, my skill set when it came to starting. It was like, okay, this is what I'm going to build, and I am going to be very objective about what I want to do and how I want it to happen and what are the necessary steps to get there. It was a very tactical approach.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of people, when they start, it's a very emotional approach, right? So it's like, okay, this is what I'm being told to do, so I do it, but I don't see the results.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of a disconnect between your expectations and, the reality, right? Whereas I think in engineering, it's like you're educated to not have that emotional attachment to a result. You look at hard data, you look at hard facts, and you base your I'd say, calculations on laws, not your emotions. I think that's a good perspective to have. And you learn it in business if you stay long enough in business. But at the start, if you have it at the start, it's good.
It's all emotion, and I think it explains a lot, because within our program we'll get people just like you who are already killing it who join, but we'll also get people who are mostly in their starting phase, right? And I had a client recently who I was on a call with, and I started asking him a few questions. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, like, do you actually have the knowledge that you need to succeed? Because when people don't have the knowledge, they tend to base it off of like luck. Meaning like, oh, do I believe in myself enough to actually achieve it? Do you believe enough in me to achieve it? But it's like, you can't really, you can get yourself caught up into your mind and believing things that aren't true, but that you will make it true because you believe it. But most of the time, when people don't have the underlying, reasons as to why something would happen, then they'll start believing that it's not true. Because if it's not there, if it's not tangible, then why would they believe that it's going to happen for them, right? So I had a client, and I was like, because it's like he didn't have the knowledge, so I couldn't really explain it to him logically. But so my goal was like, bro, you're going to have to believe that it's possible before it actually happens. Because it's really two things. Either you're really smart and you understand, you can think in first principles, all these things, or you just are really, your faith is really strong. It's like, you got to bet on yourself. Like for me, when I quit my job, and I'd love to hear your story when you quit your job, maybe even with your parents, what they thought of it. But
100%.
I did it off of faith. I didn't do it off of like, oh, I knew that this would happen if I did a certain amount of volume that I would get a client. I just was like, you know what? I'm at a point where I've been at this job making $30K a year for 2 years, and I could stay 1 more year. I could stay 10 more years. But it's like, to stay 10 years to make few 6 figures is pretty crazy to me, right? So it's like my reality was just not congruent with who I wanted to become, right? So I just quit, and I was like, I want better. So I'm going to just bet on myself, right? But for you, it could have been a different approach where, you understand how to figure out the components of everything, and you look at the variables, and it's just math, right? So, it's more logical. But for people who are starting out, my advice is like, be a little delusional, just think, believe in yourself, and know that you're going to figure out. Because if you never do, then you'll never take the risk. And if you never take the risk, then you'll never actually be forced to become really smart.
100%. I think it's even better to have unwavering faith than it is to have an engineering mindset at the start. Because if you start with a very tactical approach, but you're very shaky in your foundations, it's not going to work, man. Like what happens on a rainy Tuesday in February when you're alone in your room, no one's answering your outreach, no one is, no one is biting on your offer. You have to change your offer. You realize that you've been working for 4 months for basically nothing because obviously the market doesn't want what you have. What happens then, right? You need to have that unwavering faith. I think I've had it for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
But I think one of the best investments for me in the college space was to have that engineering approach, right? Because I know a lot of people, they shit on college. They don't like it. I think it serves a purpose, right? It served a purpose for me, definitely. But to anyone starting out, I would say have that unwavering faith and that delusional attitude where it's like, whatever happens, I'm going to make it work, right? If you have that, I think it's even better than having first principles or a first principles approach or whatever tactical mental model you can learn, right? Mental models you can learn, right? If you don't believe in yourself, like how can you expect a client to believe in what you're trying to sell, right? Because that transpires. Like you feel my energy, I feel yours. I feel that you're legit. You feel that I'm legit. On a sales call, it transpires. Even your team. Like when you start having a team, they detect this, right? And so having that unwavering faith is like a shield, right? For whatever the market throws at you, because it's going to throw a lot of things at you, and you better catch some of those things. So I'd say, that would be my advice to someone starting out.
Yeah, that belief is inevitable, man. It's the path to everything. And I think, I've heard a few people say that one of the common like features of successful people is that they believe that they're somewhat better than most people. So you kind of like have to believe in yourself more than most people believe in themselves, right? You kind of have to have that ego where it's like, a lot of people think ego is bad, but no, ego is fucking good. Like you actually gotta think you can do something more. You gotta think believe that you're meant for something bigger. Because if not, please don't get started.
Yeah, exactly. You'll get destroyed.
Oh my God.
It's rough out there, right?
Yeah.
Ego is good. It's fuel, right? You can either use fuel to make a huge explosion and kill everyone, or you can use it to propel something, right?
100%.
So if you use it to propel yourself and you're smart about it and you're aware, I think awareness is a big thing also, like knowing your place and knowing that you're not the smartest when you have someone that's smarter than you, and, you know, listening to that person, or kind of defending yourself. You know, you were talking about the story about quitting a job and, you know, managing the parents' reactions and stuff like that. Like managing these situations, like your ego helps. Because if you don't have ego, if you don't have belief in yourself, then everyone just forces their beliefs on you. Right?
100%.
You're like, Mom, I want to quit my job. And it's like, no, I don't think so. Okay, I'll just go back and, you know, on the Monday morning.
How was it when you left your job?
I told them after.
Oh.
Yeah. I told them after, but what I was doing before, I was showing them that I was actually trying something, right? It's not like I came and said, I don't want this, I just want to do something and figure shit out. It was like, no, I was doing something, I was outreaching, I was conducting sales calls. It just came to a point where it was like conflicting with my schedule. Like I couldn't conduct sales calls and get on a Zoom call with the team and stuff like that. So it was like, I need to make a decision. It's either now or never, and I quit. And to be honest, the first day I wanted to quit was on a Monday, but I actually quit on a Tuesday because on Monday I didn't have the balls to do it. Like I didn't have the balls to knock on my boss's door. But yeah, on the Tuesday I did it. Wednesday I told them, and you know, I just quit and never looked back, to be honest. Yeah. And I quit with zero clients, zero revenue, right? So it was like had like, I don't know, 10K in my bank account, not even like 7K. And I was like, okay, it's time to make it work.
That's good. That's so funny, because when I quit my job, because I had given myself like 2020, I was like, you know, I'll quit my job in April. And then April came around. I didn't quit. I ended up quitting in like on the 26th of June. And for me, in my mind, I was like, oh, let me stay at the job. Let me save some money. But it's like, bro, you've been at the job for 2 years. You haven't been able to save. What makes you think that the next 5 months are going to be any different?
Exactly.
So at some point I was like, you know, this saving mentality is actually a lie. It's like a
coping
safety
mechanism.
Yeah, it's like a safety thing where it's like you feel like you need it, but you don't actually need it.
No.
Because you know, and this is how I like to think about it, is like, if you're saving money, is because you feel like what you're doing right now, making the money, is giving you the money to save, right? So I got to a point where I was like, anyway, the reason why I'm trying to start a business is so I can actually make the money. So why am I working at this job to make a little bit of money so I can save the little bit of money when I have another vehicle that I can actually go make a lot more money?
That I know is going to work.
Part. And then, like, why am I staying here to make a little bit of money so I can save to go make more money?
Yeah.
Isn't it stupid?
It's so like a snake biting its own tail.
It's so weird.
Yeah. 100%,
right?
100%.
So I just ended up quitting, and it wasn't easy, but you gotta get over. I think you gotta be kind of like you gotta get to a point where you're like, you know, I've had enough.
Exactly, like having your back against the wall and just not caring, I guess.
Yeah.
Because when you project something in the future, usually it's because you're afraid of something, right? So if you say I'm gonna quit my job, like in my case, it was I want to make 6K. Double what I was making as an engineer. So I was paid, I think, 53K. I was like, I'm going to quit my job when I'm at least doubling my monthly salary, right? But that was just a projection of my own fear of what's going to happen if I quit my job at zero, right? And that kind of hurts your faith in yourself, where you're like, I don't believe in myself enough to just quit my job and, you know, go execute on this vehicle that I know works, because I've seen the proof. I've seen people killing it. Right? And I've seen people like half my age doing it. So what makes me less, I'd say, worthy of this, right? So I think not projecting stuff in the future and being in the present moment and just saying, okay, I'm going to execute today, right? And I believe in myself today, not tomorrow. I don't know what April is going to be like. I don't know what May is going to be like, right? Let's double down now and see what happens. And that translates a lot. I'm having this conversation with my team, like, currently at this stage, where it's like, let's stop caring what's going to happen in the future. Let's just execute on a roadmap today, and then we'll adjust, right? But I think what a lot of people, and I think we can get into it a little bit later, is current success kills future success. Yeah. Or current success is the biggest killer of the future success that you deserve, right? So whatever stage you're at, right? If you're at 3K on a 9 to 5 and that success, right? Because it is success, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep perspective real. Like people in Africa and Asia, et cetera, they don't dream about that kind of income.
Yeah.
So it's still success, but that kills your 10K goal, right? Your 10K, when you reach it, that kills your 20, 30K, right? Your 30K kills your 300K, right, per month. So I think, yeah, I mean, current success just is the biggest killer.
Yeah, yeah. I always say it. I always say that, you know, your current success is the cost that you have to pay to get to the next one.
Yeah. If you're willing to give it up,
yeah, you're good. You're good to go. And I can tell by just the way that for me things have been going on. It's like when I'm ready for a new level, it's kind of like I have to be okay with losing what I have today, right? And I think that the reason why most businesses go out of business is because they get to a point where their life is so good, like they're winning. So, I mean, from context from where they come from, it seems like they're really killing it because they're comparing themselves to who they were when they were starting out, and then they just believe like, okay, I've made it, and then they just coast, right?
Yeah.
But just like anything, you know, like anything is meant to just, you know, it's like entropy, right? It's meant to dissipate and to just get
chaotic,
chaos, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's the same thing for business. It's like if you do not put more emphasis in maintaining and growing the thing, you will lose it. But yeah, any level of success, get rid of it. Like whenever you hit a new height, be like, okay, cool. Now this is the price to get to the next one. So it's like if you go from 50K a month and you want to go to, let's say, 250K a month, then the 50K a month is actually the price for you to get there.
Yeah.
But most people will get there, and instead of using the capital of the margins, the profit margins, to reinvest in their team systems and more knowledge, they'll use it to increase their lifestyle. But then lifestyle is not really there's no ROI on lifestyle.
You're losing.
Right?
Yeah, it's negative.
So they don't end up building any business. You know, I see so many people are like, oh, but you know, I can't get enough meetings. It's like, well, how many employees do you have getting your meetings? Or how much money are you spending on acquisition? You're not. So it's like, it's normal that you're not getting anything. You have no resources allocated to that thing. But yeah, should we get into, you know, exactly your, you know, you know, right now you're in a transition phase, right? And I want to talk about, you know, what you were doing, you know, in the last few years for your clients and how that went, and then transition to like now, what's your perspective and what's your insights on how, you know, this ecom game is pivoting, and for you as an agency owner, like what are your plans for the next year, for the next 5 years, really?
Yeah, so we started as a typical Facebook ads agency. That was kind of the mechanism that was hot at the time.
Yeah.
And we had some pretty crazy case studies. I think you saw them. We had crazy impact on the way we delivered the service, because we didn't deliver just as Facebook ads. I always position my brand, my persona when it comes to clients as, you can knock on my door. If you need help with anything personal, business, we talk. Right. So I've helped clients with their offer. I've helped clients with their CRO. Didn't get paid. Right. But the case that I got paid with the case study, because all of these had the impact. Right. Yeah. So what happened was at some time around, I think, right after iOS 14 started to kick in, I realized that a brand that's only, I'd say, relying on one acquisition channel, one channel as a whole, is doomed to fail. And I've seen it firsthand, right? I've seen founders being stubborn with one platform, trying to like force their way through and just, you know, scale their brand by force, right? And it broke their business. Yeah. So I was like, okay, how can we position our offer to change it, right? So that we can help people in a more efficient way, right? And that's where I started looking at myself as a growth partner. Right, not as an agency. So I would pitch our service as a growth partner. We would only sign clients for 6 months, not 3 months like everyone does. It's 6 months minimum. Our retention went through the roof. We're keeping clients for 9 months on average, which is pretty good in the game of agencies, and you know how churn is. And then I started kind of implementing new vehicles of growth or growth levers that we can pull on for our clients. So namely retention, which is a huge thing, right? A lot of people just focus on the short term kind of money, which is acquisition.
Yeah.
But then how do you retain customers? How do you extract value, right? So that came into play. Content creation came into play also, right? And then one insight that came to me from doing a lot of research in this space was how can we like get a formula that actually propels e-commerce founders, right, to the next level if they go through a certain roadmap. And that formula is the LTV to CAC, like LTV divided by your CAC, right? And you want that ratio to be as high as it can be, right? So we started pivoting our offer to
Do you want to explain why that's important?
Because that gives you the wiggle room to do whatever the fuck you want with your brand, right? If you're extracting as much value as you can from a customer and you're lowering your cost to acquire that customer as much as you can, then that curve is just, one is exponential, the other is linear, right? Like your acquisition costs are linearly going up, but then your LTV is going up on a more, I'd say, aggressive manner, right? So that's essentially more free cash flow for you to reinvest in resources, in ads, if you want to do that, in a better team, better customer service team, better branding. It's just R&D. It's freedom, basically, right?
Yep.
And so we started explaining that to our clients. One of our clients went from $8,000 per month to over $240,000 per month in just under a year, which is just unbelievable. They're becoming like the go-to resource in their own niche. But that's just a formula of winning, right? And that goes back to my engineering kind of background. It's like, how can I formulate success for my clients, right? How can I make it unreasonable for them not to succeed, right? With a system, not just by saying, hey, I'll deliver Facebook ads or I'll do your emails, whatever, right? It's like, it's a roadmap, and we're taking you through that roadmap and we make you believe it, right? And you're my partner, right?
Quick question. Did you have a hard time? Because one of the things that I've personally experienced is that some people, they'll understand that they have a pain, but they won't really know how to describe the pain they have. So do you think that you had a harder time getting brands to understand the value that you're actually trying to bring to their company?
Yeah, some of the smaller ones, right? The smaller ones, because they're the most, I'd say, shaky. You'd explain that Facebook ads is not what they were, like in the past. Obviously now they're performing really well, but at some point they weren't, right? You'd have to explain, like people that aren't making a lot of money, it's because they're either starting in their journey or they're very stubborn, right? So you either, talk to someone who's very, very, I'd say, like a beginner, right? And you're like, okay, we need to pivot, and the change kind of scares them.
Yeah. Or
you talk with the stubborn type, and it's like, you can't do anything with them, right? They're just forcing their way through Facebook, and that's where the breaking your business comes into play. Right. So the easier part was to convince the 100K per month plus people. Right. It's like, hey, there's a change in the landscape. Let's do this. They look at the numbers, makes sense. Let's do it. Right. It's done in a week. Right. We start managing their emails, their LTV to CAC. We change their tracking, etc., etc.
Yeah.
The smaller ones, it's like, hey, why do you want to do that? And I don't understand. You told me that Facebook ads were this. I'm like, okay, but the space is changing, right? And it's like this constant. Just talking to a child, almost, right?
Yep.
I think it's similar, must be similar with you, right?
Yeah, bro, trust me. It is the same. For me, though, it's like, I've gotten to a point where, like, if I feel like you're not ready, I'll generally just refund you your money. Yeah. Because the cost, there's no amount, because people want you to make them successful. But it's like, that you need to pay a lot of money for someone to do that, because you kind of need someone to babysit you, right? You need someone to babysit you, to reshape the way you think, to reshape your habits, to reshape your routines. It's like, that's not really what you sign up to when you sign up in our program. It's like, you better come in when you're ready to actually go get to work. Maybe someone out there is out there. There's a bunch of mindset coach. You can go find them, but I'm not one, so for me, it's like, because, man, I know it takes so much amount of work to try to, because you're not really trying to solve the understanding of LTV to CAC thing. What you're trying to solve for is them believing in themselves, one. Yeah. And what they think is right when they have no foundation on what is right.
100%.
So it's like going back and forth into the abyss. It's like there's nothing. It's like It's like confronting someone over their beliefs.
Exactly. Even if I convince you today, you might come back tomorrow and you're like, you didn't sleep well. You come back to me, you're like, oh, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah. Like, hey,
it's not worth it.
Yeah, you change. Yeah. So I think for anyone who's running a business, it's like try to get rid of clients who are requiring too much energy. It's like there are people out there who can actually value your service without needing you to babysit them and train them to become a leader and a founder. Like, become, if you're not already a business owner, then, I don't know, go learn it somewhere else.
Exactly. And it's either you babysit 3 clients, right? And you lose your mind, or you work with 30 clients, right? And you make some real impact.
Yeah, you make them some money. No time for babysitting.
Yeah.
Cool. So now, and just to give some context to your offer, Omar has been in the program for a few months, and he did bring up this. He's one of the first clients who had an offer where he kind of like looked at a lot of all the variables that really matter for like an actual ecom brand. Just like I would personally look at a service-based offer and look at all the things instead of just trying to be like, oh, you need an appointment setter, right? So he looks at the offer, figures out what are the products that actually represent the biggest, at least like what are the products that are the most interesting for the customer. Maybe bundle them, actually create an offer with products.
Yeah.
Once you have a really good product, then okay, let's figure out what is the best advertising platform. Then once you figure out the best advertising platform, cool. Now let's figure out how do we actually set up retention mechanisms so we can actually make sure that client keeps coming back and purchases more frequently. So it's like, when you showed me that, I was like, bro, this is insane, right? Now, the thing, and maybe we can just jump around. You have a good offer, right? Hands down. But the thing is, to really make a lot of money with it, you need a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Which is something you've probably realized, because I've probably been in your shoes, and I'm still in the same shoes as you, where I'm like, bro, I have the best offer in the fucking market. Why am I not making $1 billion?
Exactly.
Right?
100%.
And, I've been telling you this to go hard on content, and because I've realized that there comes a point where outbound, I even think that paid advertising hits. So there is this thing where it's like paid advertising, I still think is outbound, right? Because you're interrupting people and trying to get them to trust you. But trust is not something that you just convey and create in a 1 minute or even 30-minute ad, or even a follow-up sequence of 12 weeks. I don't think it happens like that, right?
Especially for a sophisticated buyer.
So for me, I've realized that that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to even build a content editing department in our company, because I'm like, I need every person has a great company to be building assets, sales assets, just going to the world. Just let it sit there, right? Because I've realized that attention, you could do a lot of outreach, you can make money, you could get 50K, you could even get to 100K a month, but to really tap into those multiple 7 figures, 5 mil, 10 mil a year, you need a lot of people to know you.
Yeah.
And content is the best way to do it, because it's leverage. You do it once, everybody sees it forever.
Exactly. It just sits there, it works for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been hard to learn about this kind of truth. But we're getting there. I think we discussed this, a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really good to do, right? And it's the start that's hard, right? And it's just something that's unknown, so you need to kind of get your head around it, et cetera, et cetera. But once you are in it, you kind of see the value that it brings you, 100%.
And, it's like the more time that goes by, the better it performs, once it picks up for real.
Yeah.
And it's just a muscle. And it's just like any new habit. At first it's hard, but, once you have a team, like you're building your team, it's like now it's really easy. Now the hard part is when you have to think about the content, you have to edit it and this and that. For me, when I started, even till today, I don't edit anything. I would rather post, I think I just posted like a 2-hour, 49-minute webinar on YouTube, because I'd rather have it there than having not there with a team or me myself trying to figure out like, okay, what is the best thing to edit? No, bro, like just put it out there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it's volume.
Yeah.
It's volume.
It's really just finding your voice. That's hard. Accepting that you won't find it with the first, I don't know, 15, 20 videos, right? And accepting that. Accepting a lot of attention. I don't think a lot of people can withstand a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
And really just consistency, right? It's really about consistency. So making sure that all the content is put out, even if you're getting 0 views and not getting it. It goes back to not being emotionally attached to anything, right? It's like tactical, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm doing it for X amount of days, right? Per week for X amount of months every year, right? And it's going to pop off, right?
Yeah.
I think Hormozi did it for 4 years until he got viral. And until he saw like the real returns that he's seeing right now. Like he was in the abyss, man.
Yeah, it was
Tate, like Andrew Tate was in the abyss as well, right?
All these
Iman was in the abyss.
That's one thing that
like all these big guys
they've been doing for a long time, you know, decade or more. And I think that, you know, and this is where the beginner mind is, you know, it's like the beginner mind kind of like lies to you, because you think that just because someone is successful today that you can just replicate what they did. And like if Hormozi gave you, if you went and lived with Hormozi for 1 year, I don't even think you'd do more than 1 million, because a certain level of success takes fucking time. Like there's like, I could go sit down with Hormozi and be like, hey man, so I have these offers, I have this acquisition thing, I have this. He could tell me to spend money on ads. I could spend money on ads, but I would probably hit a bottleneck.
Do you mean at your current state?
Okay, not my current state. Okay. But if I was starting out, right?
Yeah.
And I have the same knowledge, but I haven't maybe putting out content. Okay. I haven't built a small audience. I don't have a team, right? Even if you went and worked with him, you wouldn't actually hit crazy numbers, because success compounds, and it's like it builds on top of it's a momentum thing. But the momentum that you get from doing something for 12 months, I think it's good. You can hit $500,000, $1 million. I think if you really focus and put your head down and really, you know, let your current success buy the next success instead of holding on to your current success, I think in 1 year you can do great things. But you won't really hit the crazy numbers, because I've realized that time is probably the like, whenever time goes by, I'm amen. Thank God. Because I know that
it's doing its job.
It's oh my God, it's my
It's
best
your ally.
It's my ally. Exactly. It's the best employee. It's like, hey 100%. Man, let's keep getting old right now, because I think the more time that passes by,
the more insights you get,
the more insights, the more people, the more
100%.
So it's like, if you can be patient, learn to consider your time as your ally instead of just being in a rush. Because I even think that, you know, great offers, great teams takes time to build.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We didn't transition into, like, we've been a Facebook ads agency, which is, in my opinion, a shitty offer. If you're just pitching that, for like 1 year and a few months, until we were like, okay, right? I think that's one of the problems with the agency model, is that you don't have the data fast enough. You don't get the data fast enough. The feedback loop is so slow, man, right? So it's like, you can have a shitty offer, but then discover it only, I don't know, like 6 months, 1 year later. Because you'll get maybe 2-3 clients that'll bite out of a sample of 10,000. And you're like, okay, this is working, but it's not, right? Yeah. The opportunity cost that you had, you know, figuring out that the offer was bad because 9,997 didn't take it, and then 3 only took it. It's crazy. And I think that's hindering, right? One of the drawbacks of the model.
I don't even think I don't think it's the model. I think it's the people, it's the educators in this industry. So let's pick someone who's created a Facebook ad course. We won't mention any name. That person will not tell you that Facebook ad is not the offer to sell anymore. Because if he tells you that it's not the thing to sell anymore, then his sales is going to drop. Yeah. And to build a course takes time. So he's not, like, that person is not going to keep creating courses every 6 months, right? So the goal is like, how can I sell this thing and shut up, keep promoting as if it's the best thing, right? And get as many people in. I think that the reason why we've been successful at client acquisition at IO is because we actually get the data. We get 50 clients a month, right? So I can see like, if I go in the wins and losses channel and I see a dip in wins, I'll be like, something is off. When I see that, what I do is I look at, okay, what are the wins in the wins and losses channel? And I'm like, hey guys, emergency meeting. We gotta figure out why is this offer working versus all the clients that we've had who haven't been seeing success. Okay, cool. How can we promote this thing and actually get them to use the thing? Because I think it's even more simple than just the offer. It's just like sell the mechanism that is more needed right now, that gets the highest response rate, right? So that's why for me, you'll see that every 6 months, I'll always come up with something else. Not saying like, oh, change your whole business. No, not that. I'm just saying put on the front end the thing that the market cares about. It could be UGCs, it could be short form, it could be all this stuff. Get people's attention and then give them what they need.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So, because I still think that you can't just sell short form. You can't just sell UGCs. You can't. I mean, you could, but that's then
There's
eventually
no competitive advantage.
Exactly. Then it becomes just another Facebook ad offer.
Exactly.
So yeah, but yeah, data is definitely. I think that's what really gives, and that's why for me, I've recently been more grateful to have chosen to do things the hard way instead of just focusing on selling a course. Now I'm starting to realize that like, you know, if you look, you know, you've been through our stuff, right? So, you know, we give you a foundational sheet. You do a lot of outreach. You reach out to a bunch of sub niches. You figure out, okay, which one gets you the best, you know, warm lead rate and all that good stuff. But like we have that on 500, 600 clients. So that means that like it's just that now I'm actually starting to think about it because I'm now doing more research on AI and I'm figuring out, okay, how is these models, you know, created, and it's from data. So I'm like, okay, well then whoever has the most data sets is the person who has the most leverage.
Leverage, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So now I've been thinking like, bro, we are technically a data fucking company. So I'm like, fuck, like we could literally build a tool that goes off and, you know, I could literally hire like data analysts and they go through all the sheets, all the offers, all these sub niches, all the personalized videos, all the this and this, and put it into like a model where you come in, let's say you're targeting SaaS companies and you're like, okay, what is the best offer? What is the best outreach channel? What is the best message? What is the best structure for a video?
Yeah.
And then we give you that and then boom, you go get to work. So now I'm like, oh shit, we kind of have an edge on a lot of people because if I sold courses, I could have probably worked less, spent less money on team, made more money, short-term profit.
Yeah.
But then sustainability-wise,
yeah, you're always stressed if you're relying on this because you're like your inability to come up with something new and spin something new is what keeps you up at night. I feel right. So some people who we won't mention kind of don't care about that because they're too big, kind of too big to fail.
Yeah.
But if you're starting out only relying on courses or only doing one mechanism for you know, an e-commerce brand, for example, or just being a commodity in the market, then you better get to work because it's going to be rough, right? And that's what we're trying. I'm thinking heavily about this. I'm not going to lie, right? Because the agency model I don't think is sustainable. If you want to make it big, right? I think it breeds too much complexity, too much chaos. Comes to seep into the operations. If you want to get to 300K per month with an agency, man, like, it's good luck. Like even the biggest guys abandoned that idea, right? And I want to get there, right? So it's like, okay, what is the best vehicle to get me there, right? And that's what we're trying to do at the team currently is figure out how can we leverage our expertise that we've been kind of compounding for the past few years, and offer it in a different way that's more leveraged.
Yeah, right? And you know, if you can share more about that, what's your game plan?
So the game plan is to, you know, position yourself as an authority first and foremost, and then kind of communicate your expertise and then offer something as a done with you instead of a done for you, right? Because in the done for you system, I found that the dynamic is kind of skewed too much on you, right? Like you don't have control over everything. Like if Facebook doesn't behave right this month, like you're screwed. It's not Facebook's fault, it's your fault, right? So you even if you add other elements to kind of substantiate your offer, you're still at fault when things don't work, right? Whereas I think it's not fair to like, the dynamic is not fair. Like, you're, as an e-commerce founder, for example, at the other end of the table, you're still a business owner. It's like, it's still your business. You're still responsible for it, right? So why is the service provider to blame, right? Like, the dynamic is a bit skewed. Obviously, sometimes they are to blame, 100%, if it's an amateur, etc. But we're not talking about that. So the dynamic, I don't like it. I prefer a dynamic where it's like, we're partners, and I work with you. I help you. I give you leverage. I give you leveraged expertise, where I don't only give you information, because that's BS, I think. I think you can find it by yourself. But I give you concise information, and I give you implementation in the best way, right? And I give you consulting, right? Based on your actions, because it's your business at the end of the day, right? And the responsibility is on you. So there's this sense of, you know, making it by myself, right? And having an expert behind my shoulder standing, showing me the way. I think that dynamic is more of a, I'd say, sustainable dynamic, where you can onboard more people, because you don't have to do the thing like every single day for people, right? And you can make a lot more impact as well. And you can get happier clients, right? It's more fulfilling, right? And you do things bigger, right? Like, at an agency, it's like you're working with 10 people, 15 people at best, right? 20 people, 20 clients. Like, where's it's fun. Yeah, you're making 50 grand, 100 grand per month, but it's like, it's still too small, right? And I want to go big, to be honest. That's the summary.
I like that. I like that. That's that. I respect that. I respect that a lot. So for me, I know that that's the path to take, right? But I feel like the market is still too. Most people in the industry are not ready for what you're starting on, right? The journey that you're embarking on, which is this leverage consulting model, where you're also doing implementation. I haven't really been heavily promoting it, because for me, I don't like to promote something that I'm not ready to like help you actually build. Because I know that, a lot of people, hear this, one of the guys who's pushing it heavily is Nick, right? Nick Cosman. And, but like, I think most people who will get into this leverage consulting thing, most of them will just fail just as bad as agencies, because you kind of have to figure out an angle and a branding and a team and a really good content and a good audience. Because I think that to get into leverage consulting and just doing like outbound and things like that, it's people have to come to you, right? So for me, I haven't really started promoting it heavily, because I'm like, even if I try to do it, it's like it takes so much amount of structuring, because what makes you different from the other agency who's also been doing advertising for ecom brands? Because if everybody starts becoming leverage consulting and offering consulting and some type of implementation, then who's different from who, right? But for me, with client acquisition.io and building it to where it's been, I think that I have a good insight on how to structure a good, not just the marketing and the sales, but also like just the fulfillment. Because I think that it's whoever will deliver the most amount of value who will win. Let's say like, you're offering, the way that you have your LTV to CAC offer, where you also take care of the offer for the brand, you'll go over acquisition, you'll go over retention, and you'll go over everything else, even content. It's like, you could go in and, advise them, but you could also like literally do it for them, right? One of the things you said was, done for you doesn't scale as much, but I don't think it's not that done for you doesn't scale as much, but it's the way that most people's done for you are not standardized. Meaning every client comes in and it's like, okay, cool, let's look at your business, let's do this. No, it's like it needs to be a standardized process, because I still think it's done with you and done for you, but like to really mix these two, you really got operationally, you got to be so good that you can sustain delivering a lot of value and still sustain a lot of throughput. Most people will just go to this model where they'll create content and then just some advising and have someone supporting, but then you don't have an edge anymore, right? It's like me trying to compete with guys who have 1 million subscribers on YouTube to try to tell people to start agencies. I'm not going to win. But if I have an operation of fulfillment that is really dialed in, where, okay, you're wanting to start an agency, like, and I can build an agency like in a box, where I have your offer, I have white label partners who will fulfill for you if you don't want to build a team. You have the acquisition team, you have the systems, you have the automation tools that are given to you, you have the script, you have the targeting that is done for you.
Yeah.
Then anybody who gets on that offer, has the funds, is just going to find it unreasonable. It would be stupid not to buy it, right? So I think that if you could do the same thing for you.
100%. It's not going to be like, people look at leverage consulting as a glorified course. It's not a course. It's actually more work on your end, right? Because you need to hold hands with your customers, even
Yes.
more so than when you were doing it for them, because you would only hold your own hand. Like, it's,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like, you'd be responsible 100% with the actions. I don't like that dynamic. So I'm cool with holding people's hands, right? I'm cool with that, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I'm pretty charismatic when it comes to conveying a good message, and people tend to listen when I talk. I'm talking about my clients. So I want to do it at scale, right? And it also comes from the fact that we have amazing case studies, right? And so it's like that feeling, that urge to like deliver it to more people.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people are getting burned left, right, and center by amateurs, and the market is screwed in that sense, right? Where people lost like trust in platforms and service providers and all of this thing, right? So if you can spin, or if we can spin something new, fresh, that actually delivers value on the back end, right? It's like you're coming into a protocol. Like, it's not a course, a video course where you're going to watch me ramble. Like, it's tactical. We're going to sit, support calls, implementation for you. My team is highly trained, et cetera, et cetera. Like, it's there's a good amount of competitive advantage on that front, right? If you're only selling a course, like, be prepared to create a new one every 6 months, right? Because you need to be able to convey what's good with ads, what's good with organic. Organic changes so much. Like, it's like with TikTok right now, like every week there's a new strategy. So you need to keep up with it. Yeah. So there's no way you can do that with a course, right? You need to be like implementing in the trenches every single week, right? Yeah. And again, going back to data, like you know at real time or in real time what's going on with the market, because you're serving more people. And that's what interests me. It's like the scale of it, right? Yeah. I want to be knowing of trends before when they're happening, not when someone tells me on their YouTube video, hey, you should do like 4 steps to, you know what I mean? Yep. I know. And if you can leverage trends when you see them, and you only see them at scale, you don't see them at the micro level, then you're really good, because you can pivot your offer faster. Right. So it's like, okay, let's say you start an MVP kind of program where it's like you onboard 20, 30 people. It starts well, you onboard 100 people, and then you start seeing the shift in the industry, and then you pivot. And the way you pivot, the speed at which you pivot gives you that competitive advantage. Yep. Right. And then you're the one telling people, hey, there's this trend. You know what I mean? Let's go. So that's what interests me. Yeah, 100%. It's gonna be hard. Like, I'm not kidding myself. Like, it's not like sometimes people say, oh, I'm gonna switch from the agency model, and it's a coping mechanism because they're not succeeding here. They want something easier maybe, or the grass is greener, like we say. Yeah. That's not it for us. It's really just a change in the way we want to do things.
Yeah, no, I think it's like, if you have built something great, like, get it to as many people as possible. Like, go big, go so big that it's like. And also, it's like, when you're small, man, it's like you're doing a disservice to people.
Yeah, 100%. There's also another element which we can discuss is when you do things, let's say you're making 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month, 40 grand a month, you're only serving yourself. Like, if you want to take care of your, I don't know, partner, sister, father, mother, like it adds up pretty quick.
It takes a lot of money.
Yeah, it takes a lot. So being someone that wants to take care of as many people as I can, starting with obviously inner circle, and then my team, obviously, super big on my team. Love them. If they're watching this, love you guys. Yeah. But it adds up pretty fast, man. Right. Yeah. So it's either you settle down, you're like, okay, I'm just going to help at my current rhythm. Can't help everyone. Just going to help like, okay, you. That's it. And then you like just stay on the side, or you're like, okay, let's go big and let's create some impact, right? Yeah. And that's what I want to do. Not necessarily people right? Like, even we're talking about clients, we're talking about strangers that see your content. and get inspired. Like that's something
Bro,
that
it's
I
the
like.
best thing ever. It's
Yeah.
the best thing ever. You know, for me, it's like now we're starting to do numbers where I can, like, you know, where my team is making money, where I'm like, oh shit, bro, like you're making a bit too much money. You know what I mean? But it's like you can't. It creates a bond, man. It creates something that you can't really. It's because I've been into big companies, and when it gets big, it's more like people are just like tools, you know, like.
Yeah.
But like, I think when you start making, you know, multiple seven figures, it's still kind of like small, because at least in our niche
In our
and
space,
industry,
yeah.
it's you don't need a big team to make a lot of money, right? So for me, one of the greatest things is like when I see people who really dedicate, you know, to their craft in the business, you know, helping clients, building things, getting clients in the company, and you know they're earning great money, and I'm like, bro, this is so fucking sick, because it's like, you know, they become like an extended part of you, where it's like, you know, now your dreams are making their dreams come true. So it's like, whoa, this is so great, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, yeah, man, I stopped chasing money for myself a long time ago. And I think it's the thing that allows you to sacrifice your current success. Because if you're just doing it for yourself, then there's no point in doing a lot more work to make an extra 10 grand per month.
It won't help you.
Because at some point you hit a point in revenue where you're making enough where you can get everything you've ever wanted. So like extra work is not actually worth it if your mind and goals is to take care of your own self and maybe your girl. But if you want to like get, so there's, for me, I have this thing where I say that there is fuck you money, but then there is fuck the world money. You got to get to the fuck the world money. Because it's like, because that's when you can really like inspire a lot of people, and pay a lot of people, and take care of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And man, it's so different when you know, like when I travel and I meet people who like know me, and I'm like, bro, this is so sick. It's something that you can't, like, no amount of money can replace the feeling of having someone who tells you like, hey man, like, you know, this thing has helped me out, and now I'm living, you know, now I'm on path to more, you know. And it's not just about money, it's more about, you know, like you said, impact. So
yeah, 100%. Impact is a broad word, like it's like thrown out there every single podcast or every single video, right? But it's true in its essence. Like I would challenge anyone that's making decent amount of money, but it's like not a lot, right? To book your parents' 1 week trip, right? All expenses paid, right? And see what that does to you, right? If you're in the good state of mind, it'll change you, right? Try, I don't know, financing a school, right? Try doing things that aren't about you, right? Try not simping for your favorite guru's watch, right? And try to actually help other people, and you'll see that money becomes, I don't know, like pixels on screens, right? And it's like, what can I do for it with it, right? And how can I get more of it to allocate to all of these problems that I'm seeing, all of these people that I can help, et cetera, et cetera. So it becomes bigger, right? Whereas I think when we started, it was like, yeah, let's get to 10K a month, lifestyle business, get me this Rolex, get me this watch, get me this, you know, car, whatever works for you. And it's me, right? And it's a dynamic that I think destroys your mindset, because even with your clients, you lose this empathy. Like they become just a MRR booster.
Exactly.
Right. And that's the road. And I'm speaking from experience, by the way. Like I'm not making this up, right? Like I went through this. Right. So it was me, seeing clients as just, you know, we need to sign as many clients as possible just to get to that financial goal that you know, that goal that I had. But it's not good, man. It's not good. And it's like a brake. You're operating with the brakes, right? It's crazy. If you can kind of get out of your head and see the world for what it is, and accept that, if you want, by the way, it's not for everyone. But if you want to make a lot of impact, just stop chasing baby money. You need to make a lot, and a lot.
And one thing I've realized is that if you really want to do big things, it's going to take your whole life.
100%.
It's not a okay, in 2024 then I'm good. No, it's like you never arrive. So it has to become, you have to literally shift your character and your identity to someone who's just meant to produce. It's like, for me, it's like I've started seeing business, and you know, I had this guy who's we're talking like, okay, like, you know, how do we get to 9 figures? And you know, I was like, you know, I think it's just a choice. But then
it's a decision away.
it's a decision, it's like you just have to make the decision that you want to go after it, right? But I've realized that if you really look at a lot of people, and this is a funny observation that I've seen, the people who are making 9 figures, $1 billion, they're not actually doing it for the money, or they're not like optimizing for like, okay, what's our profit margins? Okay, how much did we spend? How much did this employee make? Like, what's going on? No, they're literally like, they're expressing themselves. They're like artists.
Yeah.
Right. So I've realized that, like, I think it's this power versus force. I think when you're starting out in business, it's all about force. You're trying to, push hard, let me get a deal, let me get a meeting, let me get this. But then you get to a point where, like, force is not going to get you to that next level. It's really like it's like opening up yourself to the world and expressing yourself and, having ideas and having missions that you want to accomplish, figuring out problems that you want to solve, and investing your soul and all the money you have into building that next vision. And then I think that's the only way you tap into that 9-figure or $1 billion. It's like, it's less about little bitty tactics, short, like, micro level, to like, macro level, like, what kind of, how would I want the world to be for me if I was on the other side of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you do that with a team. You don't do that alone on your ads manager, right?
Yeah.
And a team, you don't get a team with juicy profits. So it's like really just flipping what you learned on its head and accepting that 70% profit margins, it's not, it's arbitrary, like in what situation, what context, right?
Yeah.
If you're trying to do things big, you need to allocate money, you need to allocate cash, you need to pay your people well. And it goes back to taking care of people, to be honest, and not being me, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of matching your words with actions? Because I think a lot of people say they want 7 figures, even 6 figures, some 8 figures, 9 figures, but their actions are, I'd say, not matching. Aligned.
Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of people just do the talking, just talk. Because I guess talking nowadays on social media, like let's say on this pod, I could come here and say a bunch of shit and, make, I guess, feel cool by saying it. And I guess if you do say it and you look like you're saying it, it kind of is kind of real for most people who are watching. Because anyway, once people get off social media, it's like whether what you're saying is real or not, what they saw is what they think is true, right? So you kind of like, you think that you're actually doing something great. But I think that a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to actually make a lot of money. I've realized that, like, making money is just counterintuitive. Like, whatever you think you should be doing is actually you should be going the other way. As an example, one of the things you just said is like 70% profit margins. I don't really understand people who think that you can build a big company with 70% margins, unless it's a software or whatever, right? If you're in a service, you're nuts thinking, because I still think that coaching businesses or consulting are still service-based businesses, right?
Yeah.
You can still, I know people who could even be doing like, $500,000 a month and they're, 70% margins. But how long will they keep making that kind of money?
Mm-hmm.
Is completely different, because I think most people really don't understand that, like, the goal is not, did you make it once? It's like, can you extend the time? Can you sustain it, right? Yeah. And these coaches, coaching coaches, one thing they don't understand is that eventually you're going to run out of people to sell. Or the people you sold into the thing, they didn't get enough value, therefore they start talking. And if 5, 10, 20 people talk, they're going to make you lose 300 customers. So that means that, like, you're actually going to have, I think Hormoz is the one who said it best. It's like, you're going to be trying to market, but there's also another marketing going on that's actually trying to make you lose
and
attention.
That one's more powerful.
That one is more powerful, right? Yeah. So it's like, the goal is you got to be reinvesting in improving what you're doing, getting the clients results faster and more effortlessly. The only way you do it is more insights, which comes from people actually learning and spending time looking at data. More effortlessly, somebody got to do the work for your clients, building systems or through done for you. So people who are trying to just say that, hey, they want to build a big crazy company, but you look into their business and they have 3 people. I'm like, how exactly do you plan on making millions of dollars? Like, are those 3 people the people are gonna call clients, take sales calls, fulfill, communicate with clients, look at finances, look at, I had a client, I had an old employee who used, and this is a tangent, but I had an old employee who used my Amex, because I try to trust.
That story.
Yeah, I try to trust people. I'm an optimist. I'll trust you, and give you the opportunity to make me wrong, right? But I'm never the type of person who's like, oh, I'm gonna protect myself from people. No, I like to trust people, because I'd love for people to trust me too, right? But that guy literally from the January 1st till like January 31st, he paid himself, his like agency, like 16 grand, right, on my Amex. And coming back to the point of like needing a team, it's like I had someone who takes care of looking at our P&L and looking at a weekly transaction and expenses, right? But she was busy doing other things. So it's like, now if you're really trying to build a big company and you only have 3 people, who's going to look at the money when you're being scammed?
Yeah.
No one is there to pay attention, because whatever if you're not paying attention to something, entropy,
it breaks.
It breaks, right?
Yeah, it's going to break.
So it's like, to really sustain a big company, you need a lot of people paying attention to every single detail of your company. So, and that takes money. It takes
as if
margins.
It was theirs.
100%.
That's another big thing.
Now, I also think that to really make people feel like it's theirs, you got to pay them well.
You got to pay them well, yeah.
Yeah.
And the mission needs to be
big.
And I saw that personally when I did the debrief with the team end of December, where like, okay, guys, this is where we're going next year. And they were like, whoa.
Yeah.
We're in, right? And they even requested, one of them requested a call a few weeks later, saying, like, re-emphasizing how excited he was. You know what I mean? So who am I not to pursue that goal now, right? If my people are getting excited about it, I talked about one of my newest employees who quit everything he was doing. He's a superstar. He quit everything he was doing just to join, right? And make sure he was part of this because he believed in it, right? So who am I to tell him like a few months later, hey, actually I'm just going back to my little baby, well-paying job. Do you know what I mean? So I think the importance of A players also is good. If you're an A player, you're going to attract A players.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think of A players and their impact?
Yeah, coming back to the mission thing, I think if your mission is not big enough, like, you will not get good people. Because I've had, one of, our business is helping businesses scale, right? So people who are also running service-based businesses. And I think that, Bel, Hassan, I guess Haisam, I have like a lot of people in my company who actually learned about me from going through my program, right? Now, they could have gone on to just focusing on their thing, but they were like, you know what? Yeah, we're onto something here with client acquisition.io. Let me actually come in and put my time into this company, right? And I feel like if your vision is not big and you don't promote your vision and what you're trying to achieve, you'll rarely ever attract A players. Because A players just get excited. They don't really care. Because if you really think about it, if me and you partnered up together, we would build something bigger than I would build me on my end and you on your end. So if you really think about it, it's a lot better to have a bunch of A players in one company chasing one mission than all these little A players working on baby stuff, right? Yeah. So I was like, guys, if we do this right, every single person who's in the management level is a millionaire in 5 years or less. And this is like actually fucking facts. It's like, if you bet on this mission, in 5 years, if you also get like profit sharing, there's no way you're not a millionaire if you work with me. There's like actually like I can guarantee this that there's no way everybody on the team is not a millionaire, right? Of course, not everybody can be a millionaire, but a few people who are
exactly the
super A players, the A players, 100%,
Yeah.
right? So, but coming back to you, A players, it's like, I mean, I think you in a team, you need A players and like, kind of like, so you need kind of A players who are doers, and you need like A players who are like kind of like bigger picture people.
Yeah.
Right?
Visionaries, yeah.
If you just have too much of this, then you have too much work, because you kind of like need to like keep giving them what's the next thing, what's the next thing, what's the next thing. And if you don't have these people and you just have B players, then you spend too much time managing, right? So for me, it's kind of like a balance where it's like, okay, like I need my COO to be an A player. I need one of my implementers to be an A player, or a few A players, and then the rest can be B players. I don't really mind. I don't really want too many A players.
Yeah, they can also compete with each other.
Yeah, they also start like there's a bunch of like, I think I'm worth more, and then it's like, okay, cool, whatever. Then go do your own thing, right? But you need a few A players, and then you need a bunch of B players, because B players make the world go around.
100%, 100%. And what would you say on a scale of 1 to 10? How chaotic last year was for you?
Last year?
Yeah. Because I think you went from, I don't know if you want to share the specific numbers, but it was pretty big evolution.
Yeah. I think January 2022, we did like 50, 60K a month.
Yeah.
I was like in London. And when I got back, man, I was like, I just did 60K in a month. What's stopping me from 3xing that or 4xing that? Because if you really look at math, and this is, maybe your engineering mind is good, it's like if you've done something, it's just a matter of inputs.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's not going to scale linearly, but if you do more of the same, it's going to grow.
Yeah.
It may not grow 3x, it may grow 2x. But if you keep doing more, you're going to get more. And yeah, last December, 12 months later, we hit like, 600 something in revenue and like 500K cash collected, right? Now, was it chaotic?
Yeah.
I don't think I felt the chaos. And do you know why? Because of our operations. Because
was it chaotic building the operations?
Yeah, it's like I've had to hire fire. Like it's I've had more stress from people in the company than like us, not like clients being unhappy or things like that. No, that was cool, right? But like for me, the hardest part was, how do I find the talent? How do I find someone who cares and who's also good at doing? It's so hard. And I think the hardest thing about running a business is talent.
Yeah.
Because once you have talent, it's oh my God, bro, like
it's jet fuel.
It's like you could be somewhere in Morocco and just spend there a month and you're still making more money than 100%. You did when you were working a lot more, right?
Yeah.
So last year was really a matter of like understanding that I need to hire and fire a lot of people, and I need a lot more reach to find better people. So, but for me, I think last year's was more of a compounding effect, man. It was a compounding effect from all the work of the previous year and the first 6 months of the year.
100%, yeah.
Right?
I believe in that.
So it's like it kind of like it was gradually coming, because it's not like we spent money on ads. Because if you've mastered ads, you could go from 10K a month this month to making 500 grand the next month, just because based on how much you spent, right? But for us, it wasn't a turning up of the dial. It was like it started raining. And it rained.
Yeah.
Right? So it kind of like was gradual. So it was like, okay, we're doing good. We just did good. And it was like maybe 50% more the next month. But it's like we kind of like we're getting accustomed to this constant growth of like, we're doubling revenue every month, right?
So building as you go, right?
Exactly. So for me, it's like even right now I'm in a building season, right? I'm in a phase of building. But because I realized that if I keep just scaling, let's say I get on ads and I start spending 50 grand a month, it actually would cost me success long term.
How so?
Because it's about me.
Mm.
It's about me making money. It's not about my client.
Yeah.
So this is also another thing. So as an example, when you get into this, when you start your thing, you start seeing a lot of success fast. One thing that I want to ask you, and you can look at even, I can say it on here literally, but if you look at a lot of people, let's say like Nick Cosman, he had the potential to build a 9-figure company. But this is my perspective, my opinion.
Sure.
Do you know why he didn't? Because all he optimized was cash collected as fast as possible.
True. That's a big bias of his. Yeah, I agree.
Every single person, it's a bias for every single person who's going from broke to making a lot of money. But for me, I've been listening to a lot of, I listen to a lot of, these podcasts from a lot of people who are VCs and a bunch of billionaires. And I realized that their goal, they don't really care about cash collected. They don't really care about, okay, this month, what did you do, right? A lot of them are trying to build for something that can last forever. So for me, I was like, okay, now I've proven that I can make a lot of money. But if I keep optimizing for this, let's say I have maybe 1 to 2 year run rate where I can really pound the market, bro. Like sell, hire 30 closers, spend 100 grand, 200 grand this month on ads, and make a few millions every single month for the next 2 years. What happens though is that if I optimize, because I can't focus on the client and focus on my growth at the same time. You can't, even if you were to hire people, because even the team focuses on what the founder actually is focusing on.
Yeah.
If you're trying to focus on, hey, let's have the biggest month, the team is thinking like, okay, how can we get rich this month? So for me, I've gone from like, okay, you know what? Now I've figured out how to, the acquisition game is good, but then how can I spend as much time as I'm trying to focus on me getting rich, spend the same amount of time getting my clients rich. And that is, let's say I'm building this growth specialist.io program. We're building these automation tools for DMs. We're, hiring and finding more partners who can actually consult our clients on offers, because we have a lot of agencies. So we kind of like need people. I'm not fucking running an agency. So there are shit I don't know. So I'm trying to find who are the best people in our program who can consult our clients who have better insight. So I'm trying to build those things, those foundations, so that now when I do decide that like, okay, let's take it to the next level, then it can actually sustain the new weight. But if I just build it on the current foundation, it's going to crack. And if it cracks, there's no going back. If a client comes in a program and it gets a really bad experience, there's no way of reverse. Like you can't reverse it. It's you mess up. You can mess up your brand once. There's no twice. There you can't go back to it. So for me, it's like I don't want the bias of like wanting to get rich fast costs me,
get in your way for more success
for
right?
Getting rich for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like let me build slowly.
Yeah. So
now I'm chill, bro. Like I was in Cape Town, I was in the present, bro. But I normally when I'm like last year was like, how many meetings, how many closed deals, how can we make an offer? Should we do a webinar this month, right? But now it's more of like, let's let 2023 be the year of building for the next 5 years of success. So now I'm spending more time researching, spending more time learning, because I know that if I don't go through this period of learning and period of building and not really focus on like, oh, did we make as much money as the month before? Then I'll be able to support my clients a lot better than if I'm just always focusing. Because also there's this model of like, I get rich and I sell you how I'm getting rich type of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's not yet what I'm promoting. If it was, then okay, cool. Then it would just be a good flywheel. It's like I sell you, so then I sell you and how I sold you. That would be an amazing business. But I don't wanna do that kind of model, because I think that even coaching coaches, it dies out, right? I want to build like an actual service business where anybody who has a specific issue with their offer, they need setters, they need systems, come in, use it. It's not about how Serge got rich. It's about the problem that you will inevitably need to solve.
Exactly. And we have the solution.
Exactly. So it's kind of like building just an actual formal traditional company that solves problems. It's not about, oh, here's my course on how I made a bunch of money.
Yeah, you're way past that.
Yeah, I'm way past that because I've realized that there's no sustainability in selling information. Because what if you get old? What if something happens? What if people don't like you anymore? But like client acquisition.io could potentially become a company that doesn't rely on my brand.
100%. Your face won't be tied to it.
Exactly.
So what has changed between your day in 2022, the typical day, and this
today?
Yeah. Because I'm maybe close to what you were doing maybe in January last year, right? So how was that?
You want to know last year and then this year?
And then this year, yeah.
Last year was a lot of, I mean, beginning of 2022 was probably like, I didn't really have a specific routine, but later that year, it was mostly about management of the sales team and the growth team, like, my setters and my closers, right? And it was always about how can we do something to generate more attention, right? Every day, like wake up, the first 2 hours of the day is all about how can we get attention? How can we get sales calls? Right?
On the outbound and inbound side of things. Okay.
So like I would wake up, write something, get attention that same day, and then try to use that attention to convert into sales calls. And I did it every day. Every day.
Would you do it yourself?
Oh, bro. Even till today, bro. Like all the marketing is me.
Yeah, all the marketing is you, for sure.
Like,
talk about the converting.
Conversations, no.
Okay.
But I had one setter back then.
Okay, yeah.
In like beginning of 2022, I have one setter. Maybe others, but came and went, right? So people would hire a growth team, then they would leave, right? And I did that, consistently because I think it's like, the efforts build on top of whatever. So whatever I did the month before fed into the next month, right? But something, and this is something it's separate, but it's really important to understand is last year we started doing something that really skyrocketed a lot of our success, which was we started solving the offer problem by actually giving people the right trends to leverage. And that tapped into an audience that it just like, I think we went from our first spike in growth in revenue is a month. I think it was like from April, May, we went from like 80K a month to like 180K the following month. An extra 6 figures in a month. No ad spend, no nothing. All from one YouTube video, right? I think it was the interview I did with Omar. He had went from like 0 to literally like 60K in 7 weeks with his TikTok and UGC agency, right?
Interesting.
One insight, 0 to 60K, bro.
Boom.
Like that kind of case study you can't make up. You can't fake it. You can't do anything. And we did an interview and it just went crazy. Right? And I was like, whoa, what just happened? Because this is what happens. So a lot of people win, but they don't know why they won. So when that happened, I was like, let me take a break. Let me see what the hell just happened. Right? And I figured it out. I was like, oh shit, we're actually, we're giving people the things that's working, and that's what the market wants. And 3 months later, I started just understanding the content thing. And I was like, okay, short form content is the right thing now. We went from 160K to 340K.
So replicating what happened. Doubling down, essentially.
Doubling fucking down, bro.
Yeah.
Right? But then also I scaled my growth team to like 5 members, 3-4 members, right? Because, the more attention, you kind of still need people to do the work, right?
Yeah.
And I standardized a lot the operations. And I started including more services. I mean, you were talking about the daily routine, but I think this is more important. And one of the things that we also did is I started looking at what are people buying outside of our program. Let's say like you do a lot of email. So I was like, okay, can I also include an email department in our program? where it's kind of like you get everything in one. You get the setter, you get the offer, you get the email outreach, you build your email, cold email thing, and we kind of like have 4 different agencies in our business where we solve for every vertical, right? And that was also like, not only do we give you the thing that works, but we also build the acquisition for you. Then it became a crazy offer, right? And people just started jumping on like crazy. And so that's what really changed. But so like, it's really, I spent a lot of time like figuring out like, okay, if I won, I would spend time like figuring out, okay, what created this success? And I doubled down on it. And then I just figured out like, okay, what are the things that the market wants? Because bro, I cannot tell you how much that if you really want to make more money, just look at what people are buying and start offering it. It's literally the easiest thing ever. And how do you figure out? Just go on YouTube. Figure out the people who have the most amount of views.
Yeah. 100%.
Right? But yeah, so it's like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I was doing back then. It's just really management, the acquisition, and spending time just writing the content and the sales, the posts and all that good stuff. But now it's more so in a season of like, I'll wake up and I'll go for a walk.
Okay.
And just put on a podcast. I'll take my time. I'm in a season of taking my time. I'm not in a rush to make money. I don't want to rush anything, right? Because I've realized that like I've spent the success that I've seen in the last 2 years comes from the 2 years before. Because before I started my business, I was in the basement just watching Sam Ovens, watching Nick Hosman, watching Iman stuff, all this courses, all this knowledge. So now I feel like, okay, like I've exhausted the insights from the first 2-3 years of learning. So now I need to get into a different game of learning. Okay, now how do I build an 8-figure company? How do I structure the team? How do I structure these incentives? What do I do with my money? Right? How do I brand better? Right? And now it's more of like, I don't want to do. I want to spend 2 weeks learning and do one thing right. And have 10 times the output as trying to do like one thing like every day. Like you're like, because if you look at the big guys, bro, like they're not actively selling every day.
No.
Right? They spend 6 months chilling.
Yeah, and then they come up with a
like
banger.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
And one guy who does it really well is Iman, and I respect him for that. It's like he's not always selling like, oh, buy my course, course. But when he does fucking do that challenge,
it's hard not to buy.
You gotta respect it because it's like he thought about it, right? And I think that's the difference between, it's like people are playing to just get rich to people are really playing this business for wealth, right? Because I've realized that, coming back to the thing I said earlier, it takes time. So if you're trying to, like, let's say you're trying to launch this thing, I would suggest don't rush selling, rush attention, consistently put out bangers content, right? But when it comes to selling and building the thing, build it to the best extent that you can, because the more time you spend building, the more leverage you have on selling people and convincing them, right? So like right now I'm starting the growth specialist.io program, which is one thing that I'm building right now. And bro, like I'm spending a whole day just thinking about how to create habit loops for members of the community. Like my job, let's say like one of, earlier this week was like, how do we create habit loops so people stay in the community? It's all about how can I structure the thing. It's not even the content course. Like I could care less about that. It's like, how do I create the habit loop so I can create the right habits for people, and spend another day thinking like, okay, what systems could we build that make them leveraged setters instead of tradition? Because you're seeing this trend where everybody's training setters, right?
Placing them.
Right? So it's like, but for me, it's like, I could do the same thing as them. But for me, my vision of this program is like, can I duplicate my skills into a person who's just starting out, and they can go into any company and scale that company organically past 6 figures per month? So now in order for me to do that, kind of like I can't just teach them, I can't just give them the knowledge. I also have to give them the right tools. So right now we're kind of like building tools for growth specialists who will be going through the program. So it's kind of like spend time just thinking like, how will this, because it's like, how would this go wrong? And then building the systems to make sure it never goes wrong. Instead of just focusing on like, oh, what do these people need to know? Because the need to know is the easy part.
It's easy. Yeah, 100%.
But it's like, how can they leverage what they're actually learning?
Yeah, in the best way.
Yeah, exactly. And so for me right now, it's like learning. Because I think if you're going to create, you're going to need to spend as much time learning. Because whatever, input equals, garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah.
So it's like whatever you're learning is what you're going to put out. So I realized that like if I need to be putting out content, I need to be also learning. So like learning, building, and content.
Do you have a specific schedule, or do you function as, okay, time to learn now?
I don't yet have for learning, it's I do it just morning, and then if I don't have anything, I'll just put on another pod during the day. But one thing that I do is I have days I take calls, I have days I don't take calls. So as an example, like Monday is a call day. Tuesday, there's nothing. You can't reach me. Wednesday, another call day. Thursday, a building day. And then Friday, it's like a semi-build, semi-call, and where I'm communicating with people. But it ends up being mostly communicating, right? But I don't yet have a clear schedule. But like for me, I divide them into days where I have to manage and talk to others, and others where it's just me time and just I'm alone. I'm just in my own little bubble where I'm learning. I'm undisciplined when it comes to like those days, because I feel like creativity comes in when you have space.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people, especially beginners, kind of go to the route of Oura ring and sleeping like at the right time. You should sleep like a good amount of hours.
Yeah.
But if you're starting like that, you're gonna build so many mental crutches.
Oh.
That you won't be able to work if you don't have your little chamomile tea and your little incense whatever and your Oura ring or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think that's another, I'd say, thing to avoid when you not even when you begin, like even when you're at 50K a month, 100K a month, like these are still baby numbers. So you still need to kind of just be the guy who works whenever, whatever, like in a coffee shop and like and feel inspired to work, right?
Yeah.
I think I've been thinking about this a lot, to be honest.
I think for me, and this is super important. One of the things that happens when you start building a company is that you need a routine, right? I think routines are great, but for me, routine does not mean that I work from 9 to 10 a.m. I'm working on something, and then from 10 to 11 I'm working on something else, and then from 11 to 12 I'm working on something else.
I tried that. It's horrible.
It's not that, because I've realized that the best work comes from when I have had so much space to be undisciplined that I'm like, okay, you know what? I'd rather work, right? So now my routine is I'll still wake up whenever I don't want to feel like waking up, but I'll still try to get in 8 hours to even 9 hours of sleep every single day, right? And then when I wake up, I try to like do something that like inspires me. Like I'll listen to someone who's doing great shit, and they will make me feel inspired to go build.
So
right?
podcast,
videos. Daily Mind Medicine by Taylor Welch is really good. But like I try to give because before I was like, I felt bad when I didn't do things like, I didn't meditate, I didn't do this.
Yeah.
Even my Oura ring, I literally wear it like jewelry.
Yeah.
I haven't charged it in 6 months.
I don't use it since last time I used it was 6 months. Yeah.
Because it's like the numbers actually affects you more than the actual state that 100%. You're in. Right?
100%.
So what I've started doing is like, I've just started being like, you know what? I'll just work. I'll wake up. And, coming back to the thing that I was trying to say is like, I think the best setting is remove all the things from your life that you feel like you need to do, and then you'll only have work left. So for me, it's like, I don't really do a lot of things. I'll probably in my day, I'll work, learn, gym, eat. I won't be cooking food. I'll just order out, or maybe have a meal kit company come in and deliver food. I'll go work out at the same time every day. And what's left?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just like all that's left is working. So it's like I'll revert to the easiest path, which is work.
And that goes back to success is actually removing things, not adding things, right?
Yep.
So you're removing like, I don't like removing meditation, but you're removing things from your life, right? Like the need to do this before work, the need to do this and to feel a certain way to actually be in a performing state. So that's key.
Yeah.
That's key.
Yeah. I think also one of the best things is waking up and working straight away.
Yeah.
I've tried doing the thing like, oh, you wake up and go work out.
Not good.
I just get back and I'm drained. I'm like, because if I go work out, I'll go work out. I'm not going to just fake it in the gym and just be like, just go walk on a treadmill. No, it's like I'll actually go work out. I'm trying to build muscles. So it's like I've realized that like I just wasted the best energy, the best creative energy. Because when you wake up, man, there is a state that I'd be in when I wake up. I can't make it up. I swear to God, I'm tapped in with the source. I don't know if it's because I just woke up or I'm still sleepy, but man, my mind is so fresh, and you can give me the best. You can put me in OpenAI and I can probably build the best AI tool, but I just feel so powerful.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm connected to everything, to all the answers. It's like my mind is just so it's like, go work out. Fuck, what?
Yeah.
This is the dumbest thing I could do. Try to go build muscles when I could build something that can change the world.
100%.
Hell no.
For me, it's in the morning, but there's also after 5 p.m.
Really?
Yeah.
You tap into that?
Yeah, I tap into something. I don't know what that is. Yeah, after 5 p.m., like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Yeah. Like I get inspired.
Wow.
Like I can't. Sometimes when I'm just sitting and I'm not doing anything, it bothers me at that time, right? And when I'm sitting at my desk at that time, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Either doing something for clients or just getting an idea. Like all my offers, like that,
5 p.m.
Yeah, that's the 5 p.m. time. that's the schedule.
Man.
I've had a phase where it was again going back into the agency kind of thing. It's very hard to solve outbound for that model, especially depending on the niche you're in. Yeah. But for mine, it's definitely a hard thing to do, which causes you to not have lead flow, right? And another thing that you kind of go through when you don't have lead flow is going through a non-abundant mindset, where it's like, I need you to be my client right now. I need you so bad, right? And it puts you in a dynamic where it's, even with your existing clients, you're not in a good spot. Right? Where it's like, if they say something negative, you take it the wrong way. You don't want to tell them the truth, even though, not the truth as though you're hiding something from them, but telling them what they need to do, right? And being upfront with them. You're scared of them leaving, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of things that come with not having a good amount of lead flow, right? So I've had a time where it was wake up and go check Slack, which is horrible to do. Like your day is fucked after that.
I know.
It could be Slack, Discord, whatever. Any communication kind of application. If you're dealing, especially with customers, like even with your team, it can be like, like negative, just leave me alone, right? Yeah. But with customers, especially, we're talking Black Friday, for example. That's like it can be, like you can lose weeks with those phases where like not abundant, and you're checking things because you're stressed, and you can't build anything. You can't build anything. And it goes back to tapping into the source or whatever. Yeah. You need to go into those states
you need to be alone. You need to remove things. You just need to be, kind of bored and just not have anything on your mind. You can't. That's why for me, it's like it's the best time in the morning, because the morning it's like, for me, it's like before I was like, I would wake up and not really check my phone at all. But nowadays I'll still wake up. And I think it's just because my environment, I just come in my bed with my phone, right? Which is really just me setting up myself for failure. But I think that what I've started doing is like, I'll wake up and just check the wins and losses channel. I have, the habit of checking my phone, but I'll go and check just client wins. So at least I'm waking up to something positive. and I'm faking because we have this, dopamine, we're addicted to checking fucking notifications. So I'll just go check the good kind of notifications and then be like, okay, I'm done with checking my phone. So I'll kind of like fake my brain or lie to my brain that, oh, I'm doing what you want me to do. But I'll just go check something that's positive and then I'll shut it down. I don't want to go check my DMs. I don't care who messaged me. I'll go check on the team. I won't go check on other channels where there's more problems. And then I'll go to take a shower, cold shower. It's always
cold?
Bro, every morning, bro.
Nice.
It just makes me feel like a beast. It's like not only am I smart in the morning, but I also have my energy animal instinct, bro. It's like, because it's survival instinct, and I shower in Montreal weather. It's like, bro, that cold water hits different. It's like it hits you and you're like, man, if I can go through this pain, I can probably do anything I want. Yeah. So, and then I'll just go sit on my desk and just start writing. I always try to write, but I've realized that I kind of need I need inspiration. I need input before I can output something, right? So now it's more like, I made a story. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I was like, remove meetings and just give me space to go get a bagel and a coffee in the morning.
Okay. That's
my thing, bro. Like when I wake up, just get in my car and just go drive around, just go to a coffee shop and just get a bagel, a BLT, just
nice
bacon. Oh, and a good, hot, spicy sauce in that bagel. And I come home and I just eat it. And then because then I'm also listening to something as I go get it. So now I feel like I'm at peace and I'm not in a rush. And then I'll just start writing. I'll write the first piece. Could be an email. Could be a post. Or I'll just look at the numbers that we have, and then I'll just set up a game plan. I still focus on attention every morning. Attention, bro. Attention is everything.
Yeah.
If you do one thing in life, in your business, and you focus on getting people to pay attention to you, you can have the shittiest offer. You can have the worst. You can be ugly and you'll still make a lot of money.
Yeah, you'll make a lot of money.
Still make a lot. It's crazy.
If you're handsome, it helps. But
yeah, you mean shit. You better be handsome and cool. But no, it's just space in the morning. Just it's time, because nothing great is built in busy space.
Yeah.
You kind of need space to build something great. But yeah, I think we should wrap this thing up. We can wrap this up by two things. Share your goals for 2023, and also share one thing that you would have loved to have learned earlier last year, same time as now.
Cool. So goals for this year, I'll just say them as I wrote them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 300K per month plus minimum. That's gonna be the goal. The team is briefed.
Let's go.
The founder is dialed in, so let's go.
Like that.
Cultivate physical excellency. That's a big thing. Started working out with a pro boxer.
Nice.
So he trains me every week. He's a beast. Stéphane Marinou. If you guys want to check him out, he's a beast.
Shout out
to Stéphane. And the other goal is to take care of my team, take care of my surroundings, right, and have a bigger impact.
Yeah.
And something more tangible is grow my audience, obviously. Right. So cultivate that attention and grab attention, basically.
Yeah.
Grab it as much as I can, never let it go, and make it compound on next year. Next year is going to be even bigger, hopefully. But those are the goals. Financial, physical, and then
I think 300K is a good goal.
Yeah,
it's a worthy goal. It's a good goal because it gives you stuff to work towards.
Yeah, exactly. And the 100K per month feels like the old 10K per month.
Oh, bro,
it's like everyone is.
Everyone, not everyone, but it's like once you hit it, you realize oh man, it's just I think 100K feels less good than 10K a month, in my opinion.
Bro, I still remember my first.
Bro, that first 10K a month hits different.
I still remember it like vividly, like the feeling and all. It's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Everything afterwards, couldn't care less.
Yeah, it's just another
exactly.
thing. No, I think you'll hit it, man. I think it's now you got your content team dialed in. You're good at ads, so your attention you can even pay for it. It's not like it's an issue. But yeah, man, no, I'm looking forward to looking that happen, man.
100%.
I mean, we're gonna make another pod next year, and we're gonna share lessons to making
100%. It's gonna be 4 hours.
Easy,
the amount of lessons.
Let's go. Cool. So what would be your number one lesson that you would have wanted to give to yourself a year ago?
So I'll go with 2 years ago. Okay. The first thing was manage your downside better than your upside. So manage your down days, make your down days the best they can, and even make them equate the best days of your competitors, right? Instead of focusing on the days you are actually performing, because we all have these days, right? But we also have days where it's like, I don't want to do this shit, man. Like, I don't feel like it, right? If you can manage those days and actually make them even better than your competitors, that's going to propel you more than the days where you feel like dialed in and everything is perfect, because those are rare, right? So that's the first thing, is managing my down days.
How have you been doing it?
Awareness, right? So you cultivate awareness through, I do it through prayer. You can do it through meditation. You can do it through long walks, just alone with your thoughts. But be alone with your thoughts, right? And not the kind of thoughts that are on TikTok. And I'm talking about your thoughts, right? Like you're being alone, right? So that's the first thing, managing your down days. The second thing I would say is just understanding that your current success is hindering your future success. That's a huge thing, right?
Everything.
Because you can't expect future success with the level of comfort you have right now. You need to let go of it, right? And I've been complacent and stagnating for a very long time at a good level. Yeah. But it's still stagnation, and it's not a good feeling. Even if you're stagnating at 300K per month, it's not a good feeling, right? So stagnation is not good, and it comes from not letting go of comfort, or I'd say your perceived, the perception that you have comfort in your current situation, and still expecting more, if that makes sense. Yeah. Right. So it's realigning your expectations with your actions, right? Making sure your words, right, the words that come out of your mouth are really aligned with your actions. And that's super hard to do, right? You learn it every day, basically. Yeah. Right. You've got some days where you talk a lot, you don't do much. And you've got days where you actually do a lot and you talk a lot. Yeah. Right. And that's where the magic happens. So if you can have a lot of days where you're above your competitors, even in your down days, and you're still matching your words with your actions, I think there's literally nothing that can stop you, man. Yeah. Like nothing. It's just one decision away.
Yeah, and a few more days of consistency.
Exactly.
I think one thing you just said there about managing your down days, and it's something that I talked about in one of the calls recently, was that our life is like cyclic, right? So it's all through cycles. If you look at like your life in a week, it looks the same as the following week. It's the same problems. They just, it's just, you feel like every week is a new week, but it's the same. You're living the same life every week, right? And one of the things that I learned a lot is Sam Ovens, who did this training around, just identity. And he was asking, like, look at your life and try to track it for like a week or a month. Yeah. Right. And then he was like, you'll go through highs and you'll go through lows. It's just highs and lows, right? But he shared this perspective that the highs and the lows are all created by something. So as an example, if you're on a roll going up, something will happen. It's a habit, it's an activity,
a trigger
that will make you do something that creates
the downward trend.
The downward 100%. Trend, right? So for me, when you said that, control your downside, I was like, well, for me, the way that I've been able to do it is I've started removing the triggers, the habits that make me go on a spiral of just, feeling negative, feeling in my lower self. And it could be, not going out on the weekend. It could be not drinking for an extended, time, right? If other people have bad habits, if you remove that habit, maybe don't remove it, but at least if it was happening, let's say once a week, make it happen once a month. Because then you won't be in your lower self for longer periods of time. Therefore, your low days won't be, your lowest days will be like still good days.
Yeah.
because you're not in your lower self, because you kept the trigger away for longer. So, oh my God, that has been such a massive thing. Like, it's changed. I think it's probably one of the most important things. Like, staying away from things that I know will make me feel bad the next day.
Yeah. Takes a lot of awareness, though.
Oh yeah, it takes so much.
A lot of honesty with yourself.
Yeah, it's just but you gotta want the next
Exactly.
life more than you care about enjoying
Exactly.
the current.
I think
one.
that's the first action to align with your words. It's like, okay, let me take a look at the bad habits.
Yeah.
And let me assess it honestly. What's going on? Where are the vices?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? Where am I falling off? Right? Like, honestly, that's super hard.
Super.
Because there are if you can tap into your dark side and make it work for your positive side, it's gonna be a good ride. I don't know where I read that, but it's super true.
Yeah.
That dark side, we all have it. We all have it. Some people control it; they're billionaires, and some people don't, and they're broke and addicts and
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They're sad. Yeah.
Or at the end of the day, we're just everything. Everyone has it.
Yeah. No, man. Thank you so much. I think this was really good. We're gonna have to do another one 12 months from now. But thank you guys so much for watching this. I think it was like 2 hours. I think it's really good.
Felt like 5 minutes.
There's some good nuggets in here. But no, man. Thank you so much. And let's look up for the next one.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, man.
Thanks, bro.
Take care.